you were there for the process for when Kawhi came over in that trade with DeMar DeRozan, right? And I wanted to ask you one thing more so about Kawhi and the season that he had, because in my opinion, man, being from Toronto, thinking about like what I'm going to tell my kids in 50 years, they might not believe that there's going to be this guy who came for one season and won an NBA championship with his franchise and then just disappeared. It'll be like a ghost story, right?
Yeah, but you know what, though? I think people just forget Kawhi was a really big piece to the puzzle. You know, I've always given Toronto a lot of credit for they were always a tough team, man. Like even when I was in Cleveland, even when I was in Cleveland, right? When I was in Cleveland, we had to battle against Toronto. Like we were just, you know, I just think we were just a little too much for them. They couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't. You know, it was one of those things where they had a hard time dealing with Bron. That was the matchup. And in playoff basketball, it's about matchups. So Bron was just a matchup that they had a hard time with. And you know, you think about how strong Toronto has been. Regular season, they've always been good. They've always had guys where they play well together. They play hard. And so even with DeMar, you know, I made my decision to go to Toronto before Kawhi got traded there. And I felt like Toronto had a chance to compete. So you bring in a guy like Kawhi, he's just another big piece of the puzzle. And it just so happens that he fit really well with that puzzle. Jay Lloyd, what's up, boy? We talking about them championship rings we got. You know what I'm saying? He was a big piece to that puzzle. You know, he was a piece that fit in. Nick Nurse did a hell of a job. You know, Masai and Bobby did a hell of a job, and everybody that came in just did their role. And again, man, we got hot at the right time. We found a little bit of luck at the right time.
Right.
And I just think we had the right players at the right time. All of those things, they have to line up. And
it's a combination. It's a combination of everything.
Combination. It is, man. It's a combination. And I think, you know, Kawhi was just a big piece of that puzzle. Him and Danny were big pieces to that puzzle to help get the organization to the next level.
That's such an underrated part of the trade too, man. Getting Danny Green in the trade just I feel like it really helped defensively for the Raptors last season. It helped you guys both stretch the floor and be able to guard multiple positions. You guys were a monster defensively. A lot of that has to do with Kawhi. And, you know, Kawhi became a sensation with the fans, too, you know, with the laugh and the memes. And
Definitely.
You know it from an insider perspective. How did he personally react to all that attention? Because I don't think he necessarily got that in San Antonio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, man, you know, Kawhi is a good dude, man. People don't. He's misunderstood just because he's quiet. So once you get to know that dude, man, he's a clown. He's a comedian just like everybody else. He got a great sense of humor. And, man, what I learned about him last year is he's a great teammate. He was great with his teammates. And just, again, he was one of those guys, man, just a pro. He's a pro. Just come in, do his work every day. You know, what's required from the coaches, what's required from the team. And look, man, I'm going to give my best every day. And so that was his approach. And he just – I think he's one of those dudes, man. He can do it out the media. He don't care. He just want to play basketball. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like that too, right? He was so focused on the game, and especially when it came to game time, he had this next level to him, right?
Right.
It's funny how the NBA works, though, right? Because one minute you're teammates with Kawhi, you're working towards the same goal, and then the next minute he's your competitor. He works down the hall at the Staples Center. Right?
Right.
How is that dynamic? Like, is it weird to have to think of him or? Like,
nah, man, it's bigger than basketball. At that point, you know, you really bond, and I was able to create a great relationship with Kawhi and all those guys on that team. And yeah, ultimately we are competitors, but more than that, man, we're humans and we're people, and we're connected to each other through something that was, you know, that's like a lifetime achievement right there, being NBA champion. So, man, just the relationships that we built off the floor supersede anything on the court. You know, that competitive thing is it's a 48-minute game. Yeah. The game is over, and then, you know, you go back to real life and regular life, so to speak. So, nah, man, it's one of those things. Yeah, he's down the hall, but Kawhi is forever my brother. Just like all of the rest of those dudes on that roster, man. We're family for life.
I mean, that's the whole brotherhood aspect of basketball, right? That's
yeah, for real.
That's why we played when we were in elementary school way back. You know, when you're a kid, that's what you play for. But
I mean, look, my biggest rivalries growing up were against my brothers.
True.
Like,
yeah,
I love my brothers, but I wanted to kill them.
right.
Like I grew up wanting to beat the shit out of my brothers at any opportunity I could. So my biggest, and there was no love lost.
Right.
Blood drawn. I'm trying to fight my brothers, and at the end of the day, when it's over, they're still my brother.
Right.
But that's just real competitive spirit right there, man. I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to lose in anything.
You talked about DeMar earlier, and how close you were, and how excited you were for to be able to work with him when he came to Toronto, right?
Yeah.
A lot of what you expected was to be ready to get in training camp with DeMar, and now randomly it switches over, right?
Right, 94 feet.
Yeah, not missed the 94 feet, man. That's what I'm talking about. I gotta ask though, like, do you think it would have? Obviously, Kawhi is an integral part, huge part of it. But do you think the same thing would have happened if you had Debo instead? If you had DeMar?
Man, listen, I believe that. When I decided to go to Toronto, I was talking with Nick and having dialogue, and I was, just kind of doing my own makeup of the team and just looking at what was there. I believed it. I believed that they had a chance to compete, to get to the finals. And even when Kawhi came, that didn't change. I wasn't like, oh, we're going to the finals. You just said, man, we really have a good team. We got a chance. And I believe that when DeMar was there, obviously Bron leaving the East, it kind of just gave the East an opportunity for anybody to jump up. So, you had Milwaukee, you had Philly, you had all these other teams that were there that were strong. But I felt like Toronto was like right there. And whether, with Debo being there, man, I was just like, it's a chance, man. We got some pieces here, and I was excited for that opportunity.
Now, when the Raptors were down 2-0 against Milwaukee, did you try to stir up a similar speech that you did in 2016, or was it a different mood?
No, you know what happened when we got down 2-0 in Milwaukee? Nick Nurse came into the locker room. It was simple. It was one of the most simple things that I've been a part of. Nick Nurse came into the locker room after Game 2 and just was kind of like, because Giannis was killing us. They were beating us up.
Yeah.
They manhandled us the first 2 games in Milwaukee, and Nick, he just came into the locker room and was like, all right, fellas, look, we gonna go home. We're gonna make some adjustments. We're gonna get to work, and we're gonna have a plan. And Kawhi in his chair just said, Game 3, I'm guarding Giannis. That was the adjustment. When he spoke up, when he said, I'm guarding Giannis,
right,
that just kind of like everybody else in the room just kind of like, okay, well, here we go. And I think, man, there's always a moment for the very best players on the team to step up and make a statement that changes the whole trajectory of the team. Because, the similar thing with Bron, when we were in Cleveland, we were down 3-1, and we had to go back to Golden State. Bron simply said in the locker room after the game, listen, if any one of you, players, coaches, training staff, anybody in this room doesn't believe that we can go there and win this next game, don't get on the plane. That was the mindset. Real calm, no yelling, no screaming, no hysteria. Just, hey, listen, this is what we got to do. And Kawhi took that same demeanor after Game 2, and that changed the whole series. That changed the series. Now, look, did he stop Giannis? No, but he made it incredibly hard for him. And that mano-a-mano matchup, and that was a great matchup right there. It was, he just made it. He just made it difficult, made it a little bit more difficult for Giannis to be able to control the game the way he was in Game 1 and 2.